Hi, this is Storm Tracker Jim Cantore. I'm standing in front of a fraction of the damage caused by the costliest hurricane in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina. But as awful as Katrina was, it was just a part of a seemingly endless series of storms that battered the U.S. coastline in a season that never seemed like it was going to end. Join us for the next hour as we relive the horror of the season of fury, Hurricanes 2005. It was a season of death, destruction, surge, and survival. It was a season of records in the Atlantic Basin, at least 18. The most named storms in a season, 23, going through the alphabet and back to alpha and beta for the first time ever. But in this terrible season, one hurricane stands above all others, Katrina. It's hard to believe that the most destructive hurricane in U.S. history almost died before it even had a chance to get going. Let's take a look back at the history of Hurricane Katrina. On August 13th, Tropical Depression 10 formed in the Atlantic. Officially, it died a day later. But on the 17th, the Weather Channel senior meteorologist Stu Ostro emailed an advisory.
Still need to keep a wary eye in this one.
On the 23rd, that spin became Tropical Depression 12. 2 days later, it hit South Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, its intensity catching many by surprise.
I think in general people think, oh, it's not going to hit me.
Katrina swelled into a monster in the Gulf, with hurricane winds nearly 200 miles wide and tropical storm winds 400 miles across. On August 29th at 6:10 in the morning, 16 days after it first started spinning, Katrina hammered into the Louisiana coastline as a Category 4 hurricane.
It was a very large hurricane. The extent tropical storm force winds extended out in this hurricane was about 5 times the distance that extended out in Hurricane Charlie.
There's no question that this is unfortunately going to go down as one of the worst natural disasters in this country's history.
We have nothing. Nothing.
From where I'm standing, some of the worst happened this hurricane season. The worst wind, the worst surge, from the worst hurricane, Katrina. Back in 1969, Gulfport and Biloxi took it on the chin with Hurricane Camille, and they thought, it can't get much worse than this. But boy, were they wrong. Katrina raked the Mississippi and Louisiana Gulf Coast. Everywhere in red took hurricane-strength hits, perhaps 150 miles of coastline. The water was devastating in its impact. For half a mile inland, anything that got in its way crumbled. In Gulfport and Biloxi, floating casinos moved inland.
I don't know what's going to happen to me and my family.
So what's it like to be in that storm? One couple who lived through it and didn't want to be identified shares their incredible story with us. This was their dream home, but Hurricane Katrina changed all that. The couple knew their own home wouldn't be safe in the storm, so they headed to the nearby house of a relative. Sure, they had their misgivings, but their relative's home had survived Camille. Family members thought they'd be okay. But they weren't, and they have the amazing video to prove it. The home in D'Iberville, Mississippi, which is on the back bay of Biloxi, was soon surrounded by water.
Within probably 2-3 hours at the most, the water started seeping under the door. We put towels down trying to stop the water from coming in. We thought maybe, well, that's as far as it's going to go.
But it kept on coming.
Look at that wave. That's only 4 foot tall.
You got nervous at first, knowing you made a mistake. You know, you shouldn't have been here. That was the biggest thing. That was stupid. And the waves were what was bad. They were pounding. It wasn't just like rising water. It was a steady pounding of waves, one after the other after the other.
Finally, the house couldn't take any more. Now, the surge was tearing it apart.
The windows all busted out. Debris was coming in at us, you know, or coming in the house. And I didn't expect anything like this. The whole house was shaking. The whole house was trembling the whole time. I mean, it was just amazing. You'd see cars floating by, boats floating by.
The only place to escape, upstairs.
There wasn't really much else you could do at that time but pray. He was in the Lord's hand, and that was it. All of us should have never stayed. All this can be replaced. You can't do that to someone's life. I won't never stay to another one.
When the water receded, they trekked back to their own house, hoping for the best. They were shocked by what they saw.
We pretty much lost everything we had.
Here's what their house looked like before the storm. And look at it now, after being swamped by a storm surge of 25 feet.
It was a big shock to everyone. I think this taught everybody a lesson. I haven't heard of many people that'll stay. It's changed a lot of things. It'll be a long time before it's ever back as beautiful as it was.
No one really knows how much Katrina will cost, but estimates begin at $100 billion. The most expensive hurricane ever. When we came to Biloxi and Gulfport, our job was to prepare you for Hurricane Katrina and get you out of harm's way. But when Katrina's record-setting surge came ashore, our job went from covering the storm to becoming a part of it. Needless to say, it's an experience that none of us want to ever have again.
We're going through some unbelievable conditions.
So fast and so furious.
It's washed all our vehicles away.
Cars piled on top of cars.
I've never seen anything like this.
It's taken down big trees. Never ever thought it would get this hot. I can't believe this. 5 weeks after Katrina, field producer Temperton and I are back at the Armed Forces Retirement Home where we rode out the storm. This is our host and fellow hurricane survivor, Mary Kay Gommage.
Oh, thank you. Y'all want to come in?
Yeah, let's go take a look.
We're going back in for the first time since that memorable Monday morning when the world turned upside down. Looking at the parking lot in the early hours of August 29th, there's no hint of what's about to happen. Right now, guys, the big concern is the water coming in from the surge. Little did we know. I don't think anyone could anticipate that kind of surge. In between live shots, we stopped down for a quick bite of breakfast.
Well, we gone for 10 minutes to grab something. We came back, and then the water's already up to the tires, and it started coming up. And I went, oh, no, I mean, that's pretty dramatic. And then within 30 minutes or so, the water was in that loading dock, and I mean, it was relentless.
From covering the story, we become a part of it. In the loading dock area, it's a mad scramble to save our satellite truck. One of our photographers pulls gear from his van. Our SUV is going down, and there's not a thing we can do about it. And then remember it stopped for a little while, and we thought, oh, okay, whew. I am standing where our satellite truck was parked. We had to move in a hurry, and we were lucky to get to higher ground. And then the next wave came from the actual eye wall. And that's what it was like. That's what was unbelievable. Are you kidding? Just keep going? How high does this get?
This thing's hard to imagine now.
It's still hard to believe that the loading dock was so quickly transformed. On the water, still rising here. Again, this is about 4 feet above where we've been. This is our vehicle right here. This is our rental vehicle sitting underwater at the present time. There's the top of that van now. Remember, about 40 minutes ago, we could still see the tires on that van. So the water continues to come up here in Gulfport. I didn't anticipate the water. Nobody did. I just thought, okay, 27 feet. Camille was 24.8. We're good. We're good. What shocked me was how long it took me to realize that was the surge. And look at this. Water now coming up on the dock, starting to head into the first floor of this building. They've taken everybody and moved them off the first floor at this point. I can't believe this.
We're going to talk to Simon now by phone.
It's washed all our vehicles away, our rental cars and everything else. I've never seen anything like this. This is probably the scariest situation we've been into. We're basically self-preservation now. We're helping the people as much as possible to put up boards and sandbags. And I think I did my phone, and I turned around and said, how's it going? Are we all doing good? And all the wood's already floating. And we were trying to board it up, and it just kept on coming and coming and coming. And as suddenly you realize that you're in trouble. Never ever thought it would get this high. And look at this. We've been doing all we can to try and stop this water from coming in, but it just keeps on coming. It keeps on coming here, where we were well out of the surge zone, or so we thought. And, you know, again, I can't tell you. I mean, weather has always humbled me all my life. Outside, the surge reaches an estimated 30 feet, an all-time record for Gulfport.
Inside, with the first floor going underwater, we helped the staff and the Navy Seabees get the nearly 500 retired veterans to the second floor and safety.
It's just been amazing to look out here and see the ocean in our front yard. You wonder, will it ever be normal again after this? It's been devastating. Yeah, I don't think you can prepare for anything like this.
It is 11:30 local time. Tough to make out the picture out here through this window with the rain and debris kind of skewed upon it, but you can see the water out here almost like it's an ocean. As a matter of fact, we have become a part of the Gulf of Mexico here as a result of what could be a historic storm surge. Even windows here in this building that were supposed to withstand 180-mile-per-hour winds, we have seen at least a dozen of them that have been blown out.
Well, that's the water tower that guy saw collapsing and came and got us and said, "You won't believe what just happened." We went, "Yeah, right." And then we didn't really believe him until we came and saw it for ourselves.
Finally, the water gives back the land. Gosh, it did it for a long time. It felt like forever. I mean, I don't even know. It could have been 4 or 5 hours because of the side of the hurricane that we were on. Definitely some of the longest hours of my life. Mercifully, no casualties in the retirement home. Our vehicles weren't so lucky.
That was our rental van.
Looks like it, though.
It is.
You see how high the water was?
It's to the top of the ceiling.
But it's not the cars or lost possessions that haunt our memories of Gulfport on August 29th. The thing that scared me the most was when I asked him, I said, "Mr. Mayor, how many people do you think evacuated?" And he said, "Jim, probably about 27%.
The day before, we're on the beach talking to all these people, and none of them are going to leave. They're all going to stay because they all live through Camille. And, most of those people are probably not with us anymore. And I think that really sunk in when I got home. I mean, it's like, it's pretty emotional because, I've never been through anything like that before and probably never will.
Nothing prepares you for what water does and how quick it takes and changes the whole landscape. Nothing.
This is a completely different hurricane now. It's not the same beast. It went from a rain event to a buzzsaw of destruction.
Welcome back to Season of Fury, Hurricanes 2005. A look back at the historic events of this terrible year. When there's an evacuation order given, most people are seen leaving the coastline. Well, there's one breed out there that's actually coming in. That breed is known as the storm chaser. And one of them, Mr. Mike Tice, shares his experience with us, an experience that he will not soon forget. Monday, August 29th, Gulfport, Mississippi, 8 a.m.
As we were getting shots of the surge coming over the road, we were just about this location, and a tree branch came from all the way over there off one of these oak trees and smashed in the back of the car, busted out the back windows.
Too dangerous to be outside. 27-year-old storm chaser Mike Tice headed to this hotel in Gulfport, Mississippi, a place picked to ride out the storm because of its solid construction. But it was still only 150 yards from the ocean.
Hurricane Katrina, for me, was my 16th hurricane, and it's the top hurricane. I never dreamt in my life I was going to witness something like this. There's the Gulf of Mexico right there coming into our parking lot. It's coming up now. The moment that really sunk into me that this was one heck of a historic event was probably about the time when the surge was coming up to the hotel. Because we knew at that point that it must have come up at least 16 feet. And we knew then that we had a heck of a beast on our hands. Storm surge. Oh yeah, it's coming up now.
And it kept coming. Not all of the hotel guests evacuated. Some, like this woman, had to be helped to the safety of the second floor. By that time, the entire pool area is filling up fast with water. Inside the hotel, it's just as bad. The lobby is rapidly becoming a very dangerous place.
It's getting ready to break, guys. We got a car that's getting ready to come right in the lobby. Get ready, guys, get ready. The part that things started really getting hairy was when the car came crashing through the front doors. When you see vehicles starting to float and act as battering rams and just crashing into things. That's like something right out of a movie or something. I mean, you don't expect to ever see something like that. There was really only one incident, and it was very temporary, that we had concern. It's when we finally retreated into the stairwell. The car was coming at us. It was coming through the lobby. And we had a tough time opening the door because the surge was already coming up so high that when you pull that, the force of the water and the weight, we couldn't open the door.
The first floor of the hotel, the entire first floor is underwater. And it's continuing to rise.
They placed a floating camera by the back door, the same door through which the lady only minutes earlier had been led to safety. You can see the floodwaters slowly demolish the entire doorway area. As the water engulfed the entire first floor, the storm chasers headed upstairs.
When I walked into the second floor, the water was screaming through the air conditioner vents into the second floor and crashing into this window probably to about like right here.
The backside of the hotel, where they had been walking just a few minutes earlier, was now underwater. The surge gutted the first floor.
I'm glad we got that lady out of the room. The roof collapsed on this building below me. See, the roof broke off. Jeez.
At one point, they ventured back downstairs.
Well, here's the infamous stairwell here. This is where Jim Reed and myself spent most of the time, right in here. And we were standing right here filming out this door. And that's when you see in the video big waves come crashing in here and then up the stairwell. It ripped the walls. It ripped wallpaper, tiling, everything. It just ripped it right off the wall. You know, that just shows you the power.
After 6 hours, the storm surge finally receded.
I consider myself very lucky. You can see on that palm tree, there's gashes from all the debris hitting it, and the gashes go up pretty high. That's a good indicator there of how high the surge came. But Hurricane Katrina, what I learned was storm surge and the power of water. When you have that water coming in that's 20, 30 feet deep, there's nothing stronger than that. I mean, it just levels everything in its path. And I just gained a whole sense of respect for the power of water. We talked to the engineers. This is 16 feet above sea level right here at the slab. I estimate that the surge came actually a little bit higher than I got the tape. It came roughly right there with taller waves on top. This means that it came roughly 11 feet up into the hotel. So that plus 16 is 27 feet. So we roughly saw 27-foot storm surge in Gulfport. This site is just, it gives me goosebumps, and words can't explain it. When you go back to a site after you witness something so intense and dramatic, and then you come back, and you know, they always say that you have smells, and smells will bring back certain memories. Well, this smell we're smelling right now just brings the whole event back to me. Wow. When you see the death and destruction around you, it just makes you mad. You know, you just want to do something. You don't want to see that happen again.